Hi everyone, so wonderful to be here. Thank you Alman for the warm welcome. Thank you Jose for being such a partner right from the very beginning. Jose called us up when we started and he was like, do you know that California's population is 40% Hispanic and you have no representation? I said, oh, okay, we'll remedy that situation. And fast forward, the chair of our board now is Teresa Maldonado, who is amazing and who is one of the leaders and founders of ARCHES. So very excited to be working with her and with everyone here, and very excited to partner with Hispanics in Energy, Asians in Energy, African Americans in Energy, and all the community groups that we're working with every single day. Wonderful to see Mario Cordero here, the CEO of the ports. Long Beach was one of the first partners to join ARCHES. That actually, yes. And that was a major milestone, because having a port be a part of the ecosystem and a large off-taker was already a significant step forward. So Mario has been a stoic supporter right from the get-go. He even came to the oral presentation to the DOE with us, and he and the governor were the superstars of that presentation. The DOE, towards the end of the meeting, were directing questions straight to Mario. Are you sure you're going to be doing hydrogen? Are ports well situated? Have you really done so much? And he was like, yeah, of course we're doing it. We're wonderful, and we're going to move forward. And then the governor came in and basically said, California leads in technology, California leads in renewables, California leads in zero-emission vehicles, California leads in investment in clean tech. And frankly, DOE, you need us more than we need you, so you'd better give us that award. And I think they saw the light, because the DOE has never given California such a big award for anything before, so it's super exciting. But going back to what Tyson said, and if Tyson wasn't a part of this initiative, we wouldn't even have gotten off the ground, because we knew that there was a hydrogen industry in California, and we had no idea how big it was. It was a patchwork effort, just like Mike pointed out. And patchwork efforts, if they're not brought into an ecosystem, are not the most optimal way to develop the technology or to bring down the costs in any meaningful way. So we were thinking of, okay, you know, California has renewables. We have a lot of renewables. I also sit on the board of the California Independent System Operator, and I'm the founder of Renewables 100 Policy Institute, and very happy and proud to say that in May 2023, and consistently through this month, we have been producing 100% renewable energy on the grid, and running at 100% renewable energy consistently, day after day after day, for multiple hours. And so we know that we have excess energy, and we know that we curtail that energy. Actually, Tyson calculated that if we were able to use the curtailed energy in 2022 alone, the energy we curtailed, we would be able to produce 30% of the hydrogen we need in 2032. So there's an amazing amount of energy that we already have available where we can produce hydrogen with renewables in California. It was wonderful that the DOE decided to create a hydrogen hub initiative. And California already has experience with hydrogen. We are the second largest user in the United States of hydrogen. I didn't even know until we started focusing on this. We have pipelines that are exclusively dedicated to hydrogen that have been operating since the 70s safely and without many people knowing about it, frankly, which is actually really good experience for all of us as well. And we have a constituency that is ready to step up and actually deliver, and credit-worthy off-takers and producers, such as the ports and power plants and heavy-duty transportation that have mandates to transition to carbon-free and, frankly, need hydrogen in order to be able to get there. So we initially put together our team, and when we started thinking about responding to the DOE proposal, said, let's see what the ecosystem is. Let's issue an RFP. So we issued an RFP, and we were surprised. We got over 100 proposals back, amounting to more than $56 billion of potential projects available in California. So out of those 100 proposals, we selected and down-selected proposals that we submitted to the DOE in order to win the award. But we had to have an entity that actually applied for the award. So then the next step was, how do we create an entity and how do we ensure that that entity gets selected by the DOE? So that was almost an artistic art form. We went through many meetings, we went through many iterations with stakeholders and groups, and basically decided this needs to be an ecosystem approach. We could have had an approach that is a project by project approach, or we could have had step back, big vision, and we are California. So yeah, of course we're going to have the big vision. We're going to create an ecosystem. It's going to be statewide, and we're going to batch production and offtake and transportation and ensure that we develop everything together and we operate it as a system. So if you create that ecosystem, all technologies can rise up, all off-takers can rise up, and we can effectively bring down the price. And we were confident we could do that because we've done it before. We did it with renewables. Solar was $9 a watt 20 years ago. It's now less than 3 cents a watt. Batteries, same thing, over 90% cost reduction. We've done it with electric vehicles also. So we have the experience with wind, we have the experience with solar, we have the experience with batteries, and we know we can operate a system and a grid that's 100% renewable. The issue is, how do we do it 24/7, 365 days a year? Yes, we need storage. And we need long duration storage, and one of the solutions for that is hydrogen. So we need a fuel. Also, as we move forward, if we want to decarbonize everything and we want to decarbonize the economy, you need reliable electricity, yes. You need renewable kilowatt hours, yes, absolutely 100%. But then let's use those kilowatt hours to literally take sunshine and bottle it up. So sunshine in a bottle, make hydrogen, and use that hydrogen to decarbonize areas we couldn't otherwise decarbonize. Whether that's cement, whether that's steel, whether that's shipping, aviation, agriculture, lots of sectors need hydrogen. So we put the team together because we knew we needed to have a big vision. And California is blessed to have the largest research institution, the system of UCs, all working together. And for the very first time, turned out the UCs had never worked together and had never come in as a consistent, united front to say, we're applying for this hub as the UC system on the level of the Office of the President. And Teresa Maldonado made that happen. She made that happen for us and made sure that the UCs came in as a united front. And they also, have 3 national labs that they operate. So that helped us as well, because we also got 2 of those national labs, Lawrence Berkeley and Lawrence Livermore, to also join ARCHES and the initiative. So we had the brain trust, and we knew we had the research and development. But this initiative for the DOE was very unique. It wanted steel in the ground. It wanted production. It didn't want research and development only, it wanted commercialization. So driving the cost down from what it is now, whether it's you're paying $36 a kilogram if you're driving a Mirai like me, or you're paying $9 a kilogram if you're operating a transit agencies, we need to bring it down to below 5, and the DOE's goal is to bring it down below $2 a kilogram. It's an awesome challenge, but again, we've done it before. The state knows how to do it. We can make this happen as well. And like the governor said, if California doesn't do it, nobody else will, so you need us more than we need you. And the DOE did see the light. So because we needed to have steel in the ground, labor became a major component. And so we talked to our labor partners who we had worked with in the renewable space and told them, hey, look, the UCs came in as a united front. They're all coming together. It's never been done before. And Chris Hannon, talked to a couple of people, turned around and say, well, labor's coming in as a united front too. So the building trades came in, largest union, and they came in, they said, well, but we have some requirements. We want sustainable careers, of course, and we want to make sure that all the projects have a PLA, a project labor agreement. We said, done. Not a problem. So labor came in as a united front as well, and we wanted this to be a statewide initiative, so the gravitas of the state was necessary, and this is where Tyson worked all the magic with GoBiz, and GoBiz came in as a foundational partner as well. So we had our partnership that was ready to come in and focus the proposal on environmental justice, on equity, on economic leadership, on workforce development, most importantly though, hydrogen market viability. And we managed to do that. Whoops. Here's our wonderful DOE process. We submitted a proposal that was about 3,500 pages long. It took months and months to write. It's probably one of the, well, the DOE, not probably, the DOE says it is the best proposal. We did win $1.2 billion from the DOE. We're the largest and most comprehensive hub. Thank you. We're quite happy with ourselves for having done that. But we continue to be even happier. And the DOE makes sure that, you know, they get their money's worth out of our application. So we were announced in October of 2023 as a winner. And we received a letter that we were a winner of $1.2 billion. And we would go into negotiations with the DOE for 60 to 90 days. Ha! Biggest joke on the face of this earth. We're still negotiating. This, as you can see here, we're still negotiating. It's pre-DOE funding. We have submitted 5,000 pages of materials and responses. And Mike will tell you, as a partner from Chevron and others as well, if they're in the room, the partners are submitting detailed budgets and detailed project proposals and descriptions as well. And you know, we terrorize the ports because the DOE wants to visit all the time. And they really love to go on the boat in Long Beach. And they've told everybody at DOE that this is the best tour. So the undersecretary has come and toured and loves everything that's happening at the port complexes. And now we had the DOE financial department come in, and they wanted to tour. And then our project managers are touring. So the DOE now is very interested in where our office is going to be, and are we going to have office space for them because they'd like to have permanent staff located there as well. Which is good, but they need to give us the money. So, so now we're like driving, give us the money. We've got to have a deadline. This is top secret. We have some insight into it. Where at the end of July, early August, we'll be making a big dramatic announcement about things happening if we're successful with what's going on. Whoops, what happened? All right. So why are we so successful? I don't know, this is not showing really well on the slide, but the idea was, as I said, we had the proposals, 100 proposals came back. We selected tier 1 and tier 2 projects. Tier 1 we proposed to DOE directly for funding. Tier 2, we basically are projects that are viable and they are part of the ecosystem, and they can slide into a tier 1 project if a tier 1 project has issues, whether it's financing or permitting or any other problem that they may encounter along the way. We have over 400 original equipment manufacturers and technology companies participating in our working groups as well. So we are a very inclusive, open ecosystem in terms of technology. Another huge driver for our hub, as was mentioned, so we received $1.2 billion from the DOE, but that's just the catalyst, because that has unlocked matching funds of $10 for every dollar the DOE gave us. So we've unlocked another $12 billion in matching funds, whether it's the states, whether it's municipal bonds, whether it's private funding, other transportation requirements as well in California. So that in California already is extremely important, and as Tyson mentioned, we need to ensure that private financing, and Mike also alluded to that too, has the security, the longevity, and consistency that's necessary from a regulatory framework point of view to be confident in investing in this sphere. So aligning regulatory frameworks from a national, state, and local and city level even is extremely important for all of us. So the hydrogen hub that we proposed for the DOE, because the DOE had divided it into specific sections. They have a gray hydrogen, a blue hydrogen, a pink hydrogen, and a green hydrogen hub proposal. California having an abundance of renewable energy and a goal of being carbon neutral by 2024, we said, well, sure, we're going for the green hydrogen hub. We've got renewables, let's make it happen. But the proposal that we gave also includes some biogenic hydrogen as well, because we do need to have diverse sources for hydrogen, and we need to focus on the carbon intensity. And if we can meet the carbon intensity goals to where with biogenic and carbon capture, we're at carbon negative, we've actually exceeded our goal. So in terms of, we look at the ecosystem we're creating, at least for that first phase, for the first 37 or 39 projects we're looking at, feedstock, distribution infrastructure, and then demand. And we wanted to make sure that we match production with viable offtake. Many of the other projects, we are told, basically have production, but they don't have viable offtake. The benefit of California is we have large-scale off-takers ready to implement hydrogen now, which makes us very unique. Some of the states that proposed hubs basically said, oh yeah, we'll make hydrogen and sell it to California. We want to make sure we can make our own hydrogen. We don't have to import hydrogen from everywhere else. As a matter of fact, we'd like to be able to export it through our wonderful ports. So we take renewable electricity, we use electrolytic production, that was explained before, and utilizing the grid as well, which is increasingly decarbonized. We are at 60% carbon-free electricity on a 24/7 basis, but that's not taking into account large-scale hydro, which we import from the Pacific Northwest, and behind-the-meter solar and distributed generation, which is another 15 to 20%. So California is very, very clean and getting cleaner every day, moving towards that 100% goal ahead of schedule. We also take biogenic sources such as municipal waste, woody biomass, and wastewater. And we use biogenic production, carbon capture, make additional clean green hydrogen. We mostly transport the hydrogen. Actually, there was an announcement by one of our large partners that they're converting their whole fleet of trucks to hydrogen, and it's hydrogen fuel cell trucks. They're also going to be installing 2,000 fueling stations, which we're very excited about. And we are making sure that the utilization of hydrogen is very close to the production of hydrogen, so we have the need for minimal buffering storage on the system. We also have proposals for pipelines to extend the existing hydrogen pipelines that already exist in California and build a robust pipeline network throughout the state as well, specifically dedicated to hydrogen, which again is very exciting for us. The off-takers we focused on, because we wanted to show we have viable off-takers that have mandates to go clean, are the power generation sector. So some of our power plants, especially the peaker power plants that are going to remain and have to remain on the system for reliability must-run operations and to provide ancillary services, have to have a fuel. How do we decarbonize that fuel? If we don't decarbonize the fuel, we're forever going to be dependent on gas. So hydrogen can take that role. But what is really so exciting is with our partners, we've already pushed the technology to say that there are turbines now that can operate on 100% hydrogen. But what's more important is they can start with gas, 5%, 10%, 15, 20, all the way up to 100% hydrogen. So as hydrogen becomes available, those repowered power stations can start integrating it all the way to 100%, which is super exciting. And the equipment manufacturers weren't bullish on being able to provide that technology until we said, for an ARCHES project, you have to be able to go to 100%, otherwise you cannot be a part of ARCHES. So they came in and met our deadline. So we've already pulled technology, which we know we can do in California. Transportation, heavy-duty trucking, heavy-duty transportation and transit agencies. There are 13 transit agencies in ARCHES. More are coming in as well. Fuel, hydrogen fuel seems to be the favorite for all the transit agencies. It's easy for them to implement. They can use the same bus fleet, more or less. They fuel the buses the same way that they fuel with CNG or with diesel, and the buses perform exactly the same way. So the transit agency operators really want to be able to assure that they have a steady supply of hydrogen as a fuel and transition to a cleaner fleet. And the last sector, of course, is ports, which ports, they're a no-brainer. Ground equipment needs to be decarbonized, battery-powered, fuel cell, especially for the heavy duty. And then, of course, we want to make sure that we have shipping as a viable option as well, and make sure that we have carbon-free fuels for ships and aviation also as a next step. So just to meet the goals of the DOE Hub, which is 2030 to 2032, it is a very accelerated process that takes place in very few years, which means we need to build those projects. We need to start building them next year. We cannot be held up by permitting. We cannot be held up by funding unknowns. We cannot be held up by technology not being available. So we've got to marshal all of our resources, make sure that we have the trained workforce that is able to step in and deliver on those jobs. Right now, we are producing about 6,800 metric tons per year to meet our hydrogen needs, and that makes us the second largest in the United States. To meet the goals of 2030, we have to be producing 190 metric tons per year. So that's exponential growth, and as you can see, the industries grow as well. And to meet our 2045 carbon-free goals, we need to be producing 17 million metric tons per year. So huge requirements, huge need for hydrogen, and we need to start working and delivering now and bringing down the costs as well. Another, and this is a community that is very interested in how do we engage, how do we make sure that everybody in California and all communities are touched and participating in the process. 25% of the score actually for the proposal was community benefits and community benefits plans. Looking at it as two sides of the coin. One, of course, environmental benefits, air quality benefits, climate benefits, they go together. But the other one was economic opportunities, jobs, high quality jobs, careers, family sustaining careers, training and opportunities for education and pathways, especially to underrepresented community into those new high quality jobs. So we took that very seriously as we developed everything, and actually even after we won, we created a pathway for all of our projects, which is published on our website, archesh2.org. Anybody can read it about how communities can participate in this ecosystem that we're developing to engage and include everyone, especially to meet the Justice 40 goals as well. Like I said, we want the hydrogen market to have quite high quality sustaining careers, but we also want to make sure that we meet California's environmental, air quality, and community needs. Another commitment that we made is that 1% of all of our projects are required to allocate, the 1% of all the budget of all of our projects is allocated to community benefits. So those 39 projects will deliver $318 million in benefits to our communities. $229 million to workforce, $150 million to programs that the communities choose and that they would like to see in their areas as well. So like I said, the community benefits, environmental goals, along with workforce development, there will be a plan created. That's a community benefit plan, which depending, it may be legally required or not, depending on what the community prefers. We've been engaging with working groups, with communities for over a year now, meeting regularly every 2 weeks. And we're going to have a system for making sure that we have auditing and measured results and keeping plans on track, because community benefits are an integral part of all of our projects. One of our visuals that we're very proud of, we call it our Andy Warhol rendition, because we looked at the hub sites and then we looked at disadvantaged communities, low-income communities, and air pollution. And they're pretty well aligned with all of our projects throughout California and how the projects are distributed in terms of production and offtake. And then we did an analysis and system analysis of what the benefits would be just from the 39 projects if they were implemented by 2030 and 2032. So projects have to be built from 2025 to 2030, operational for 2 years by 2032 to get the DOE funding. So this really is a very accelerated time schedule. $2.95 billion of health savings year after year after year, per year, just for California. So huge healthcare savings for Californians, 220,000 new jobs. Absolutely very important for us. Like I said, the community benefits projects are 1%. We are going to have a independent community benefits auditing team that's going to ensure that the community benefits plans are delivered and the tasks are met. $150 million in direct projects. We have tribal community engagement on our board. We also have Chairman Bo Mazzetti, who is the chairman of all the chairmen in the tribal communities, who actually yesterday wrote the letter to the Department of Indian Affairs of how through ARCHES, the tribal communities in California and surrounding states are launching the hydrogen trail to ensure that we have hydrogen available to rural communities, which is very exciting. And the DOE, along with the tribal communities, are really eager to see this materialize. And because we're so successful, not that they've given us any money, but they've told everybody how great we are. We also got selected to be a mega project by the Department of Labor. So the Department of Labor now is very engaged in ARCHES too, and hopefully we'll have another $34 million to education programs and training programs for labor as well. Like I said, we also have community benefits meetings too. We have the jobs and the comprehensive workforce development. And another initiative that we're running that we believe will be a game changer is having the working groups focus on technical issues that need to be standardized across the board. Hydrogen isn't governed by any agency right now. It's kind of like, the Wild West. Codes and standards haven't been finalized for hydrogen. It's treated as a toxic gas. So we've got to figure out who regulates hydrogen, how it's regulated, codes and standards, but training programs too. So some of the electrical training institutes are already putting a program together for training their apprentices in hydrogen. They're actually putting in electrolyzers and fuel cells to make sure that they're trained. We want to have programs from high school going into community colleges, state schools, UCs, and training institutes that have a certification process that's uniform. So a kid starting from high school and going through the educational or training programs knows that they're certified and can work in a certain area. We're making outreach to women in non-traditional energy industries, winter. We're working with helmets to hard hats. We're working with previously incarcerated folks with Big John Cares and gang members as well. We want to make sure that we touch the communities that haven't had access to the good jobs that we're interested in. So engagement and outreach, anybody who can help us and who can help us engage and make sure that we're touching communities that we need to touch. Jose, thank you so much for volunteering. Whether you did or not, you are volunteering. Job creation and recruitment, there'll be tremendous opportunities for everyone. Education and training, and of course, making sure that the disadvantaged communities are incorporated into this ecosystem, and that we lift all of our communities as we decarbonize the air and curb climate change, and continue to be the most progressive state, fifth or fourth largest economy, and maybe even third largest economy, because this is the lowest cost, highest value for us to move forward and succeed in doing it. So in summary, we're a public-private partnership. We are California's statewide hub. We're already working with surrounding states to engage with other hubs as well and make sure that this is a regional ecosystem. We're focused on hard to decarbonize sectors, which can't be directly decarbonized by electricity, ports, power, heavy duty transportation, but of course then moving on to heavy industry, aviation, maritime, and agriculture. I don't know if you know, but hydrogen is a main component of ammonia, which is used for fertilizers. And we import our fertilizers from Texas and Russia. And it's not green hydrogen that's in that ammonia for sure. So we want to make sure that we secure that supply as well, because it is about energy independence, it's about supply chain independence as well. And we want to make sure that we are never dependent on the processes that might actually be not available at certain times, be it because of a cataclysm, a world war, not a world war, a regional war, hopefully not world war, of a war that happens, or political issues, or environmental issues, or health issues such as COVID. COVID certainly showed us vulnerability in terms of supply chain issues. And most of all, we want to develop the workforce, meet our climate goals, and develop the hydrogen market and ecosystem, because we know that as California goes, so goes the nation, and so goes the world. So, yay, let's lead. Thank you. Were we going to have time for questions, Jose, or? Absolutely. Anybody have any questions? Yes. Tyson, can you come up here too, because you're such a critical part of this initiative that, you know, we want to make sure that you also answer the questions. Yeah.
Thank you. Parochial question, because I drive a Hyundai Nexo. Thank you. I drive a fuel cell vehicle, Hyundai Nexo. You talked an awful lot about fuel cell buses and trucks, and that's absolutely part of it. My day job is with Sacramento Regional Transit, and we're going down that line. Right. What do you see as the perspective for growth in the personal vehicle hydrogen supply?
Well, I'll take a crack at it, then I'll let Tyson answer, because he's better versed on that question. Look, for personal vehicles, battery electric is really great too. So to the extent that battery electrics can meet the need, that's great. Hybrid vehicles, that's great. I think Honda is coming up with a hydrogen hybrid vehicle that can run the first 30 miles on batteries and then transition to hydrogen, which is wonderful. We need to bring the cost down of the fuel. This $36 a kilo is unsustainable. I drive a Mirai. If I didn't have the fuel card, it would not be easy. But the fueling infrastructure co-located at any gas stations, which is what we see, it could be ubiquitous, it could scale quickly. We just need to, again, push on bringing the price down. And I think the large off-takers, power ports, and heavy-duty transit are going to do that for us. And hopefully we'll have more optionality. But we're lucky on the light-duty sector. We have more technologies that are available. On the heavy-duty sector, I don't think batteries can perform as well as they can on the light-duty side. But you know that, right? Yeah. Tyson, you want to say?
Oh, I would just say we're not giving up on light-duty. And so with when you put in the heavy-duty station, we want to make sure there's light-duty fueling whenever it makes sense. And we can, the rising tide lifts all boats, but really driving down the cost is what will enable, the cost of fuel will enable that adoption.
Yeah. There, there. And then, yeah. So here, here, here. Yeah.
Where are we going?
Hello?
There.
Oh, Alberto, yeah.
Just talk loudly.
Thank you very much for a great presentation. My name is Alberto Ayala. I'm the CEO of the Sacramento Metro Air Quality Management District. So please think of us as the partners, because I love the references to air quality. Clearly, clean hydrogen has a role. But my question for you is this. The nice thing about California is that we did not start from zero. And Tyson will tell you, we had transit agencies 20 years ago, AC Transit, Sunlight Transit, that were running fuel cell hydrogen buses. And my question for you, and I can go on and on about examples of projects that many entities like our agency are already trying to stand up. Mm-hmm. My question for you, which is not entirely clear, is how do we integrate all the progress that we have made into the promise of ARCHES to make sure that the progress that we have made doesn't become a stranded asset?
No, I mean, I can take it.
Go ahead, yeah.
You know, one of the main areas that we have focused on also is transit agencies, and we've realized that there's a lot of experience, a lot of know-how. We met with Foothill Transit, we met with Orange County Transit Authority. I'm sure Tyson's met with you many times as well. And there's knowledge and capability, and as we bring in, I think we're bringing in thousands of new buses through ARCHES and a potential for all transit agencies. Perhaps we should start standardizing that knowledge and making sure that it's not only available towards our stakeholders here in California, but regionally and nationally as well. This is yet another area where California can lead. And your experience in this area is tremendous, because it will allow us to leapfrog into operating more reliably based on lessons learned. And I have many stories of lessons learned about how you store hydrogen, how you can move the tank vertically, how you make sure that you have monitoring for any leaks, and you don't want the leaks, how it dissipates quickly into the air, and it's not dangerous, but when the batteries burn, you just need to let that bus burn, because that's more dangerous. And the head of, who was it, Doran from Foothill Transit said, if I had my family in a hydrogen car or a battery car and there was an accident, where would I want them? He said, definitely in the hydrogen car, much safer. But you know, we all learn, we all go on this journey together, and thank you so much for this offer, because we'd love to. Maybe we should set up a transit symposium for all the transit agencies.
Yeah, and there's, and I think, Alberto, that's like what your question is central to the hydrogen market development strategy. It's making sure that we pull that thing. There's kind of two ways to look at it. There's the ARCHES federal hub, which has all those predefined projects that we have to make sure that are talking together and getting in the ground. And then there's the ARCHES ecosystem, which we're all a part of. And those lines will start to blur as we go through time. But like the hydrogen fuel cell partnership, I'm on the board there also. And they, you know, we wouldn't be here without that organization. It's a public-private partnership where it was shared across state and industry. And so we have to make sure our plan is to leverage all of those, open the tent, bring everybody in, and help make sure that we're sharing across the board and connecting and creating that ecosystem.
Right. And as Tyson pointed out, which is very important, I meant to say this, is we see ARCHES and the hydrogen hub and ecosystem much larger than just the 39 projects that we have. It's also the tier 2 projects, but we have a running RFP on our website, and we get at least, you know, 3 to 4 projects a week, maybe even more, submitted through the RFP process, which we also want to integrate into the ecosystem. And the ecosystem is much larger than what we are proposing to the DOE, so we want to make sure that develops. Oh, it was.
Hello.
Sorry.
This is Dr. Gene Nelson, Californians for Green Nuclear Power. And it seems to me like you folks in the Department of Energy aren't talking with the Department of Treasury, because those Tier 2 projects right now are so constrained by 45V proposed regulations. The most cost-effective ways to make hydrogen, which are specifically steam reforming and also electrolysis powered by nuclear power, are actually barred by the current 45V regulations. How do you propose we get past that logjam? Thank you.
Well, 45V, you know, has been the bane of our existence for the last few months. And this is where, I mean, Mike pointed it out, Tyson pointed it out. We need to ensure federal regulations don't come in retroactively, and they not only affect Tier 2 projects, they affect Tier 1 projects as well. Retroactively, after the DOE made the award and put the projects on a path that everybody assumed 45V, which is the tax credit, the production tax credit, applies to the projects. And now, they've caused a lot of angst and anxiety by putting in proposed language that is ultra restrictive and that essentially kills green hydrogen and the development of green hydrogen. So on our website, archesh2.org, right above the logo, we have a link to the letters that we have submitted to Treasury. And we worked really hard to make sure that California had a united front in approaching that issue. There's an ARCHES letter that outlines what the issues are specifically for California. We agree with the intent of the legislation. We just think it has unintended consequences and a very chilling effect on California projects that can be overcome, and we propose how to overcome it. There is the state agency letter, which is ARB, CPUC, CEC, and GoBiz together supporting ARCHES' projects and proposal. And then there is a 3 governors letter because the Pacific Northwest has a green hydrogen hub, so Oregon, Washington, and California also saying there needs to be an alternative pathway specifically for states that have a goal of a carbon-free future, that are on the way and above 50% of meeting that goal, and have a renewable portfolio standard that is enforceable. So hopefully that allows the Treasury to see that disallowing green hydrogen and disallowing hydropower and existing hydropower for electrolysis is not a very smart way to move forward, and we can remedy that situation and put it behind us, because it causes anxiety in the investment community too. And yes, $1.2 billion is great from the DOE, but the private funding coming in, 12 billion, 50 billion, 100 billion, like Tyson said, cannot and should not be jeopardized.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Martinez with Meadowlow Enterprises. Thank you so much for the presentation. It was great information, and we're ready to partner with you. But I wanted to learn a little bit more about your strategy in regards to the community engagement. I think this is a great opportunity for a lot of underrepresented communities. They're great paying jobs. I know us, Meadowlow Enterprises, we do have a lot of high quality jobs, but I think we really need to focus on just getting the message out there. So just wanted to learn a little bit more about your strategy. Thank you.
Well, I mean, and I'll let Tyson speak to it too. And you're going to hear from our community benefits officer today, Joy Longford, who is leading that effort. So you're going to have insights into what we do in terms of outreach of the community and inclusiveness right from the beginning. So we've tried to be very open and transparent and engaging in communities and making sure that we have a working group that meets regularly where people can join, ask questions. As a matter of fact, the agenda is driven by the communities that ask questions. They've had lessons on safety of fueling stations in our neighborhoods. People don't know. We need to launch a massive education campaign. So as soon as we get the DOE funding, as soon as this becomes, the official initiative that we're working towards, along with constructing the project, we do need to have a massive education and outreach campaign to get the message, not only about the facts about hydrogen and dispel some of the myths, but also about the opportunities that it provides in terms of economic development and jobs, which is really tremendous.
I'm Mark Rogers with Terravanta, and I support Edison's power generation group. And I saw that you guys have power generation on your slide. Mm-hmm. We run a lot of steam turbines with a mix, typically 4% hydrogen, regular natural gas. And a lot of our piping isn't hydrogen compliant. And you guys probably found out that usually 10% we have problems. How much of ARCHES program is geared towards supporting power generation side? Because That's going to be huge for us if we want to convert from natural gas to hydrogen for all of our steam turbines.
Massively. We're being, absolutely, the way to decarbonize the electricity sector 100% and make sure we're not reliant on gas, and we need those power plants to operate. We need to decarbonize the fuel. So that is why power is one of our major areas and sectors of focus right from the beginning, because we want to make sure that we provide that optionality. So we can't name them yet. Soon we will be able to. It's a request of DOE, not because we don't want to. We shout our projects from the rooftops, but DOE has asked us to not say anything until we ink the cooperative agreement, which hopefully we'll be announcing in July, August. And then we do want to focus on making sure that the power sector has a viable path forward in terms of decarbonizing the balance of system, not just the turbine, but balance of system as well. Yeah. Okay. Great, thank you.